Guys, deluded Guna, I'm back again. My good friend Aidy Boothroyd, he just can't stop talking nonsense, can he? Like he's in regards to they pump, when they pump England's under 21s, they pump Scotland. Again, not everything he said isn't wrong. He spoke about the need for players to stop thinking they're like Globetrotters. He said players need to stop yeah, man. Basically, the gist of the article is that he wants players to stop being individuals, like, and stop playing with individual flair. It's like he wants a gang of robots. I mean, you've seen how some English players, because of the nature of it, how people don't want people to make mistakes and don't encourage it. How they're scared. You look at Ross Barkley, like, go and look at Ross Barkley, especially when Everton play. He looks scared to play certain passes. He'll play one killer pass, the fans shout. He won't do it again, and he'll constantly get caught up in two minds, and that's when he technically loses the ball. Like, obviously, you with how they pump Scotland, I get it. You can't overindulge and things like that. And as you get older, you need to understand both. You need to kill games and you need to manage a game. And you can't let your standards drop and start overindulging. They're young players, so I get all of that. But you can't tell them not to do certain things. That's how you create basic robots that can't do anything, that can stay tactically in position and all of them things, but can't do anything. And then you will say the same nonsense as to why don't they express themselves and have individuality like the Germans, like the French, like Spain, etc. I mean, could you imagine Spain telling Asensio or Dembele to stop doing skills and be more simple and things like that? No. Of course, complacency and game management, I'm not talking about that. If we're pumping teams and you're doing certain things, you can't overindulge. But you're speaking nonsense. What did you say? And I quote, playing as individuals won't get us where we want to go. That's fair. It's a team. It's a team game. But then you will cry that you don't have enough difference makers and enough people that make the individual brilliant. You need to find a balance. I'm all for people doing skills. I'm all for players trying to beat 10 men and things like that with reason. You need to learn from your own mistakes. And I believe players need to have the confidence to try these skills, because how do you create players with a different skill set? England, look at the national team now. You've got players that are good, but they're scared, or you have robots, especially in the midfield options. Why do you think you're always crying for Wilshere? Not because Wilshere's the best English player. It probably is that best creative midfielder, but not because he is. It's because he's the only one not like a robot. I'm not disrespecting Henderson or Dyer or players like this, but they can run, they can do all of these things. Can they take risks? No. Or if they do, it's not going to work. You need different, or Livermore as well. Throw him into that. Like I said earlier with Barkley. Barkley looks scared. This is why the English game will always be behind, because you have someone that is in charge of the highest level of youth football in the country in regards to England. Under 21 is the highest level before you get to senior. Saying nonsense like this. Like, you have Aidy Boothroyd there. You have several chips. You have chips. How can you have the most, arguably, from under 17s to 21s, the most exciting batch of young players, and everybody's a dud who's in charge of a club, in charge of an age group? They're a dud. But I mean, I've told you guys previously how the coaching in this country is a joke. How it's all about who you know, not what you know. How the costs are the most expensive, so we have the least qualified coaches. That feeds into the IQ of players, and players looking like robots and things. England have a very, pardon my language, retarded method when it comes to players at this level. Yes, if you make a mistake, you don't want to see the same mistake, and you don't want to see stupid mistakes. But unless you make a mistake, unless you try these things, how do you get better? How do you ultimately win titles? Every World Cup, you've seen some individual brilliance make the difference. You've seen Iniesta make the difference after Seth clipped that ball. You've seen Götze make the difference. Why haven't you seen any English player make the difference or do well at a tournament? It's because there's pressures from nonsense like this. There's the culture of bigging up English players before they've done anything. There's a whole bunch of stuff, but this is nonsense. It is nonsense. I don't blame you, because players do need to learn how to manage games. I mean, look at the under-17s today. They were winning 3-0. They lost 3-2 because of overindulging and doing big-time Charlie stuff. But you can't, for the way you said it, I completely disagree with you. Like, I completely disagree with you. Players should be allowed to be individuals. You are individuals. You all had different stories to become a professional footballer. You all have, no two players are the same characteristics-wise or mannerisms or balance and things. All players have things they do differently. So it's about a fine line. Yes, it's the team comes first, but it's about freedom within a framework. It should be a thing where you stay in position and you are intact defensively, and you do what the team demands of you. By all means, be as individual as you want, especially when you're pumping teams like this. Why shouldn't you try new things? Why? Try them step overs. Look at Sancho. I hope that doesn't get coached out of Jadon Sancho. If it was up to you, tell him just to. That's why English wingers have been poor, because all we teach is just whipping it. Whip it, get down the line, whip it like the Albrighton sorts. You need players like this that can stand someone up, that can embarrass a man, that can break someone's leg back with skills, that can make them get grass stains in their bum. Like, you need this. I haven't got much more to say on this, guys, man. Delulu Laguna, I'm signing out, man. There's not much more to say, but players need to be given a facility, freedom within a framework to try skills. Guys, Delulu Laguna, I'm signing out, man. Honestly, get in the comments, subscribe, yeah.